Parliament's Joint Standing Committee on Defence says it's not entirely satisfied with the South African National Defence Force's readiness to help police in crime-fighting operations. Newzroom Afrika's Nasiphi joins us live from Parliament. Nasiphi, good afternoon to you. Big announcement from the President earlier in the year that the SANDF would be helping the police. What have they told Parliament today?
Stephen, what I'll tell you is that it's been nearly a month since that announcement by President Cyril Ramaphosa at the State of the Nation address that the South African Defence Force will be deployed to various parts of the country in assisting the police in containing organised crime, gang violence and illegal mining. The provinces that have been added is Gauteng, the Eastern Cape, Western Cape, Northern Cape and the Western Cape. And today, as you put it, a Joint Standing Committee on Defence probing, or rather asking questions, very pertinent questions, to the top brass in the SANDF with a long list of questions that they want answers and seeking clarity on. However, it seems like members of Parliament were left with more questions than answers. But to talk to us more on this, I'm joined by Nicholas Gottsel, who is a member of Parliament for the Democratic Alliance. I mean, just starting off the sitting this morning, a long laundry list of questions that have been posed to the members of the South African Defence Force. Take us through your thoughts on today's sitting, but also, are you satisfied with some of the answers that you received?
Well, certainly a long list of questions, but unfortunately, it only left us with more questions. We eventually broke it down to very basic questions. For example, a timeline or training. Tell us about the training. But even on those very important points, they could not give us an answer. Now, the problem with this is firstly that we have a situation where South African National Defence Force troops will be deployed to areas across the country. We don't know which areas they will be deployed to, and we don't know what the criteria is for that. Now, that was one of the questions I asked today and didn't get an answer on. So whilst we don't think that the SANDF needs to tell us exactly where they will be deploying to, we want to understand how are they going to decide whether they go to Manenberg or Heiderveld or Mitchell's Plain. Another problem is that we also need to know that the troops have received the necessary and proper training in order to be able to assist the police. Now, you used the right words earlier as well. They are only deployed to assist. And they need to understand it, and civilians also need to understand that.
I mean, from what I gathered in the sitting, as much as you're asking all these questions and not receiving much answers, what I also gathered in some of the questions that were being posed is that both SANDF and SAPS were speaking past each other when it comes to the planning and the deployment.
Yes, so on Wednesday there was a joint meeting of the Police Portfolio Committee and the Defence Department, as well as Petroleum and Minerals, I think. And we asked the same questions today that we asked on Wednesday. Now, on Wednesday we asked questions that we thought were pertinent to the police. We didn't get answers to that. We got no answers about how the deployment and the whole operation would be funded. We asked questions about discipline. What happens when a discipline matter arises on either side? And I think an important thing is how will these departments jointly decide how to deal with these situations?
Nicholas, are you concerned about the fact that, answers are not really forthcoming, or these two departments don't have answers for you, looking at the fact that it's been a month following the announcement by the President, and communities are waiting in anticipation as well?
Certainly, and I think that's the point. People are waiting in anticipation. Now, in the debate on the State of the Nation address 2 weeks ago, the Acting Minister of Police said that the Army would be deployed within 10 days. Now, we've not seen anybody in the Western Cape. We haven't heard anything. But I think that's the problem, is they've created this hope. We have communities living in fear on the Cape Flats every day, and they want to see something. They want to know that they can actually go to bed safely at night, that their children will come home safely from school. And the longer this is delayed, the more they worry. Now, I want to make it clear, of course, we do not want to just simply deploy soldiers into gang-ridden areas, for example. We want them to be trained. We want a proper plan. But from what we've seen today is that the planning is just simply not happening, because even the first phase of it could not be explained to us.
We'll have to leave it there because of time. Nicholas Gottsel, the member of the Democratic Alliance, who was part of the Joint Standing Committee this morning on Defence, who received that briefing by SANDF. Somebody that was also in attendance this morning was the Deputy Minister of Defence, Bantu Olomisa, who said after, the sitting, as it reached a close, that they will be going back and consolidating regarding the concerns raised by members of Parliament and coming back possibly next week with a more consolidated plan. And they are hoping that on their return with the members of the South African Defence Force, that they will be coming with the top brass of SAPS to jointly present to the standing committees their plan regarding the deployment of the army to the various provinces. As we heard this morning as well during the presentation, that they're also asking for a letter to be written so that the army is able to move around across the country, as they also predict that with having the army deployed in 5 provinces, they fear that organized crime leaders and gang bosses might migrate and move to other provinces. So they want to be allowed to continue with their operations in other parts of the country as well.